In the last video, we saw that Ling Mo is an ordinary college student, but he awakened the power to control zombies after a zombie apocalypse happened on Earth. He uses a zombie puppet to move around and gather stuff, but his biggest goal is to find his girlfriend Lion. He finds her and she is a mutated zombie that grows stronger by consuming the gel-like substance inside other zombies' skulls. He brings her under his control, but she is stronger and more willful than the previous puppet he controlled. But as she eats more and more of the zombie gel, Lion starts showing more similarities with human behavior. The two of them go to a knife store and steal a good quality dagger after defeating another mutant zombie. Later, they find two students named Shana and Liu who are surrounded by zombies. Ling Mo is cold and emotionless, but he is forced to help them when the boy Liu attracts the zombies towards them by mistake. They run away and go to the hideout where Shana and Liu live with other students. Ling Mo finds that most of the people there were useless and relied only on Shana to protect them. She asks him for his help in trying to rescue the people who were still stuck in their school. After some negotiation, Ling Mo agrees and they set out to rescue the people in the school the next day. But once they are near the school, only Shana and Liu are fighting the zombies and the rest of the students are just watching. A zombie pulls one of the students inside through a window and kills him before Ling Mo can help him. Shana decides that they should keep moving on if they want to survive and succeed in their rescue mission. Everyone follows her, but one boy named Lu Xin is a little reluctant. He was a spoilt rich kid and had tried to make fun of Ling Mo before being slapped and humiliated. Another boy named Wang Cheng, who had volunteered that everyone should go to the rescue mission, is trying to pull him with the others. Lu Xin starts quarreling with Wang Cheng, and then he shows his real colors. He insults Lu Xin and says that he did not have anything that could justify his arrogance right now. They should stick with Shana and help out, or she might decide that they were not worth saving. Lu Xin curses him and says that the death of their classmate was on him, and Wang Cheng replies that having fewer people would be better. He tells Lu Xin that he might have been rich before, but Shana never thought highly of him ever, and Ling Mo was someone he could not mess with even if he had money right now. Lu Xin curses Wang Cheng and thinks that if the apocalypse had not happened, things would be much better for him. But as they reach closer to the school, a large number of zombies are blocking their way. Shana volunteers to draw their attention while the others ran into the building, but Ling Mo says that he would do it. He thinks that it would be better if he dealt with the zombies alone, and there were chances that Shana would die if she tried to attract the zombies to herself. Shana is worried about him, but Ling Mo tells her that he can only buy them 5 minutes. He then enters a smartphone shop and the zombies inside attack him. He stops them and brings them under his control. He ties smartphones around their necks and plays music at the highest volume. The zombies start running with music, attracting more zombies towards them. The way is cleared and the students are ready to move. Shana is relieved when she finds both Ling Mo and Lion coming to her. But the attention of the zombie crowd turns towards them and they start running after the three. They run inside the nearest empty building and kill the zombies one by one. The zombies come from the higher floors too, and the rest of the students are scared. But Wang Cheng pushes one student in front of the zombies and he loses his life. Another zombie is trying to kill a girl, but Lion swoops in and kills the zombie with a knife. Ling Mo had ordered her to kill the zombie while hiding her true abilities, so she used a knife and saved the girl. The fight is over for the time being, and Shana wants to go upstairs to check for 2 missing students. But Ling Mo tells her that if they went upstairs they are already dead. They should not waste their time looking for them. Shana is depressed, but Ling Mo tells her that she was doing the best she can. She realizes that not only was Ling Mo extraordinary, even his frail-looking girlfriend was very strong. Another student is trying to stab Wang Cheng with a knife when Shana and Liu stop him. He blames Wang Cheng for the death of all the people here, but Liu tells him that it was not his fault anyone died. No one had seen him push another student in front of a zombie, and Wang Cheng can still afford to act like a nice guy. But Ling Mo notices the hateful expressions on his face just before he started acting. He keeps his eye on Wang Cheng but ignores him when he tries to talk. They are near a supermarket and decide to check if there were any survivors there. Ling Mo goes in with his girlfriend to investigate while the students would guard the gate and look nearby. Ling Mo realizes that his mind was sharper and stronger now after fighting so many zombies. His senses were also sharper, and that gave him the feeling that someone was watching him all this time. Lion notices something and is eager to run wild. Ling Mo realizes that the only thing that could pique her interest right now was the gel inside a mutant zombie's skull. They run in the direction Lion points and hear a sharp scream. There is really a mutant zombie in the supermarket and he bites through the throat of a student. Lu Xin is also there and he can only stare in terror as the mutant zombie kills his classmate. The zombie then targets Lu Xin and he starts running away. He spots Ling Mo and Lion coming towards him and starts begging for help. The zombie smacks him away and now Ling Mo and Lion have to fight him. But this mutant zombie is much more powerful than the one he faced earlier. Ling Mo decides to kill it quickly before anyone came and orders Lion to go all out. Both of them attack the zombie, but he is too big and fat for their attacks to do serious damage. Seeing that there is no obvious weakness, Ling Mo decides to bring the mutant zombie under his control. But that puts his mind under great pressure, as it was not going to be easy to hold 2 mutant zombies under his control at the same time. But he strains himself and manages to stop the big zombie from moving. Lion takes the chance and in one clean slice, removes the gel from the zombie's skull. With that, the zombie falls dead. Shana soon comes running after hearing the commotion. She is shocked on seeing that Ling Mo and Lion had killed the mutant zombie so quickly. She is certain that Ling Mo was hiding something from her. Lu Xin was injured by the zombie and the others start to bandage him. He is angry at Ling Mo and thinks that if he tried he could have saved him before the zombie attacked him. But the other student, who is more severely injured, cannot survive any longer. Shana takes his life to end his suffering and decides to move on. She is sad, but then Liu tells them that the color of Lu Xin's wound was the same as the color of zombies. It was possible that he was soon going to turn into a zombie. Shana refuses to take him along and risk everyone else's lives as well. She decides to leave food and water for him and check on him when they return from the school. If he was still a human, they could take him back. Ling Mo also thinks that this was the best way, but he still believes that it was a waste of resources to leave food for him. Shana tells everything to Lu Xun and leaves him in a safe room. But Ling Mo realizes that perhaps the boy would also turn into a mutant zombie since he was infected by one. That would be interesting to see. But when he looks at Lu Xun, he looks like he is ready to kill everyone. The group reaches the school and Ling Mo tells Shana that they were on their own now. He had some business inside the school he would attend alone, and if they were lucky, they would meet again. Shana is sad but thanks the two of them for helping them. Liu offers them food and water but Ling Mo refuses. He thinks that a boarding school was a good place for finding mutant zombies. When humans would no longer be available, they would kill each other and mutate. And since Lion was already acting up, he realized that a mutant zombie was not too far away. They reach inside the school and find that the elevator was still operational. Lion rushes to the elevator and Ling Mo stops her from being rash. He opens the door of the elevator by throwing an eraser at it and a mutant zombie comes out. Ling Mo attacks him but the zombie can stop his daggers with his bare hands. And when Lion tries to attack him from behind, he quickly dodges her. Ling Mo realizes that fighting this one would not be easy. He can barely stop it using his powers and Lion cuts off one of his arms using that chance. Ling Mo concludes that the mutant zombie was quite a high-level one and thus difficult to control. But now that it had lost an arm, his power was greatly reduced. The two of them attack the zombie again and defeat it after a tough fight. Lion brings the gel to Ling Mo and he notices that it was even better in quality than the previous one. She is excited to eat it, but Ling Mo tells her to wait till they got home. There are even more mutant zombies in the school building and Ling Mo and Lion hunt them and gather their gels. He is tired after fighting for so long but his girlfriend is still fine. They have collected a lot of mutant zombie gels and Ling Mo thinks that Lion can evolve once more with just them. He was in perfect sync with her when they were fighting and he feels like he can easily control another mutant zombie right now. But his body was still weaker than his mind. He was tired and needed Lion's help to get up. He gets up but a ribbon that tied her clothing together comes undone and her cleavage is exposed in front of him. Her expressions tell her that she is a little bit shy and Ling Mo has to focus to take his mind away from erotic thoughts. Meanwhile, Shana and the students have reached their classroom. Liu and others are not sure if anyone was still alive but when they knock on the door, they hear a human voice in response. The door opens and a teacher comes out covered in blood stains. They are happy to see that rescue was here and rushes out immediately. But Shana notices something odd. She asks the teacher why were there so less survivors compared to the people that were left behind. The teacher tries to cover it up as an accident but Shana pushes him aside and enters the room. Inside she finds that the survivors had killed and eaten their friends. When Liu sees it, he cannot believe it and throws up. The teacher acts like nothing weird had happened and asks Shana if they had normal food. She gets angry and kicks the teacher. She says that Ling Mo was right. These people were just parasites. There was no point in saving them. She says that they had killed their own friends rather than dare to step outside and find food. They were much worse than zombies and deserved to die. She steps outside the room and the survivors get angry at her. They curse her and say that they would kill her for abandoning them. They run after her and Shana swings her sword and beheads one of them. In another building, Ling Mo and Lion are searching for a mutant zombie. It was supposed to be inside a classroom. Ling Mo could tell that much from Lion's reaction. But she turned normal once they reached the classroom, which meant it had run away sensing danger. They decide to search in other buildings. Shana is killing other survivors as they run away and beg for their lives. She kills them saying that the people they killed and ate must have begged for their lives in the same fashion. She kills the last one of them and becomes completely mindless. The other students come running after her and try to break her out of her state. She is standing still like a statue and even Liu's shouting cannot wake her up. But a mutant zombie attacks the students from behind. It kills a girl and is then moving towards Shana who is defenseless. But Wang Cheng realizes that his survival would be impossible if Shana died. So he pushes another student at the zombie and it kills him. His dying screams wake her up and she turns back and stabs the zombie in the chest. Wang Cheng is trembling from nervousness that what should he tell Shana. But she is not interested in talking and orders him to move back. Only 3 of them survive now and as they return, Lu Xun is watching them. He had started mutating and was waiting for Ling Mo to return. But he jumps down and attacks Shana. She is not prepared for his attack and loses easily. Lu Xun picks her up and starts taking her away. Liu tries to save her but Lu Xun kicks him away. He says that he does not want anything with them. He orders Liu and Wang Cheng to find Ling Mo and tell him to come to the boys' dormitory. If he did not come in time, Shana would die. Liu screams curses at Lu Xun but it attracts more zombies. He and Wang Cheng run away and hide in a classroom. They try to barricade the entrances but the zombies come in through the windows. They decide to find Ling Mo as soon as they could but the zombies do not make it easy for them. They defeat them somehow and run out of the room, but there are more zombies waiting for them outside. But Ling Mo comes in at the right time and saves Liu who was about to be eaten by a zombie. He asks them where Shana was and Liu starts explaining everything to him. He is shocked on listening that Lu Xun still had his mind intact to some extent even after becoming a zombie. Ling Mo thinks that he could find some answers about the evolution of his girlfriend if he fought Lu Xun. Liu is also requesting him to come and save Shana. He leads them to the boys' dormitory and Wang Cheng is already lagging behind them. On the road, they see a group of zombies eating another zombie. One of them mutates and Wang Cheng wants to change their route. But Ling Mo defeats all the zombies and Lion takes care of the mutant zombie easily. Liu is glad that with the 2 of them, they could defeat Lu Xun and save Shana. They reach the dormitory and find fresh blood on the stairs. Liu is positive that it was Lu Xun's blood and Ling Mo hopes that he was right. They follow the blood trail and reach the room where Lu Xun was waiting for them. Ling Mo is not much surprised at seeing the state Lu Xun is in. He had anticipated something like this. Lu Xun blames him for his condition and starts cursing him. He says that if he never came to their place nothing bad would have happened. But Ling Mo is not interested in what he is saying. His transformation was different than others. Even though he came in contact with high-purity virus strain from a mutant, he did not transform into a zombie immediately. There must be some other factors that made him a conscious zombie. Lu Xun says that Ling Mo could have saved him from the mutant zombie but he did nothing. But he asks him to tell them where was Shana. Lu Xun laughs and says that if they wanted to find Shana, Ling Mo would have to pay him back for the slap. He asks him to cut his hand and then he would tell them about Shana. Lion gets angry on this but Ling Mo stops her from attacking him. Lu tells him that if he wanted revenge, he could take his hand instead of Ling Mo's. But Ling Mo stops him and says that they did not need to listen to him. He speeds up and is instantly behind Lu Xun. He strikes him with his dagger but Lu Xun manages to avoid fatal damage. Becoming a mutated zombie had increased his abilities. But that is not good enough as Ling Mo launches another round of attacks and cuts off his arm. He asks Lu Xun for the last time where he hid Shana. But he is still arrogant and says that he will never tell him. But before he can complete his sentence, Ling Mo beheads him. Then they rush to find Shana and find her tied and gagged in another room. But when Ling Mo frees her, he finds that she was infected by the virus. Liu cannot believe it and starts arguing with Ling Mo, who has to slap him to bring him back to his senses. Ling Mo thinks that since Lu Xun was not strong enough to resist the virus, it was possible that Shana would also turn like him. But since the infection dose was lower, there was a chance that she could turn into a mutated zombie like Lion. He orders Lion to take Shana and leave the place immediately. But Shana picks up a knife and tries to kill herself rather than turning into a zombie. She is crying that she does not want to harm anyone else and tries to slit her own throat, but Lion stops her. She begins crying as the infection starts spreading. She begs to be left alone, and when Liu gets closer to her, she tries to attack him. She begins sweating as her control over her senses loosens. And then she faints suddenly. Liu is bothering Ling Mo with questions about what would happen to her. He tells him to shut up while he was thinking, but then Shana wakes up and approaches Ling Mo. She is saying only 2 words repeatedly, "Give me," as she gets closer to him. She gets aggressive but Lion pushes her down and pins her to the ground. Ling Mo takes out the pouch containing all the mutant zombie gels and asks Shana if she wanted this. She begins to ask for them even more passionately and says that she needed them or her head would burst. Ling Mo thinks that the gels could probably help her resist the transformation. At least that was what it looked like. He decides to take action immediately and tells the 2 boys to get out of the room and guard the door. He feeds her 1 gel and she goes through pain and her eyes turn redder. She asks for more and Ling Mo realizes that she must be evolving like Lion. She keeps on asking for more and Ling Mo feeds her all the gels he had. As soon as she consumes them all, she falls unconscious and Lion holds her. Will Shana also turn into an evolving mutant like Lion, or will she become something else? Will our hero's secret be revealed to everyone, or he can keep it a secret while saving Shana?